question about the data. Are you able to get those data, for example, the Harvard, every year, how many applicants apply to Harvard? What are their GPAs, SATs, what their ratio, and probably their income level, and also the data, how many admitted, what their ratio, and what their GPAs, SATs, and ideally also, what's their graduation rates? Like for law school, how many pass the bar can finish? If you get those data, I think very, helpful. And then the data itself can tell the truth.
So the answer is, we ask for all of that information. We're likely to get most of that information, and we do think it will tell the truth.
Okay, so they, if the court asks, they are obligated to give the provider.
Yes, with a big, they'll fight. They'll try to say we're asking for too much, but at the end of the day, the simple answer to your question is yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. And the other thing is, Dr. Blum said we can, there are 3 ways can help. Yeah, of course, I hope everybody, no matter how much you can donate financially, anything. And is there any other way we can help, like do some things, Dr. Georgia said if I have some of those cases, I can email you. And it would be great to give the contact information, see, or if you can contribute your time or work, anything would be helpful.
Yeah.
And also, I'm asking, see, in this country, and your vote always can, is very powerful. Is there any way we can, from this perspective, do things like last year SVCA 5s? See, before, we Chinese, we get used to, we are humble, we just take care of ourselves. I'm glad this happened today. Before you say, okay, like Harvard, you raise your bar, we study harder, we achieve more. That's not just right. Of course, everybody has to work to their full potential. However, we, come to this country, we want the equal right. It's not just so we Chinese people now, we have the awareness, which is great. We cannot just, you raise the bar, we just work harder. That's not right, right? So, and also maybe there is a way from the, vote, we have, those are powerful things. Maybe from this perspective, what we can do to make the court or whatever politician or what can, hear our voice.
Maybe I try to address one question about the vote. We are thinking about if, the Department of Justice, Department of Education, if they don't take actions, we'll do an individual petition. But if, say, by the presidential election, there's no good, clear way to go, we'll try to escalate into a presidential election issue. Who support us? Who against us? We're trying to let the particularly Asian American concentrated states or swing states like Florida, we can try to put it as a election issue. So we're trying to mobilize the vote as much as possible. That address part of the question. Probably address more.
Well, it's a little. First of all, I'd like to deputize everyone in this room to be sort of a fellow discrimination investigator. Do not hesitate, and this is how these cases are born. Do not hesitate through the websites that I've given you, and it has my email on it. If you see discrimination, not just in higher education or K through 12, if you see it in contracting, if you see it in employment, if you see a memo from your employer that says something along the effects that we're going to be making a presentation to a new client and we need fewer Asians on our marketing committee and we need more of some other race on our marketing committee, or if you're told we're dropping you from this employment track because we have concerns that one of our clients doesn't want so many Asians on a particular project, you need to tell us about that. So you're all officially deputized as investigators to keep us informed. The second thing is, and we're a little ahead of ourselves, but at some point, I anticipate arguments that will be made at the court in Boston. And I think it's important that the Asian American community in this country go to Boston, hold a rally the day of that argument, and make sure that that courtroom is filled with Asian faces. This is what the civil rights movement has done for the last 50 years. It's the right thing to do. When you're African American fighting for your rights, you want the courts and you want America to know that you stand with those litigants. So coming and participating in person, I think is an important element in all this. Yeah.
So my question is, if this lawsuit against Harvard ever goes up to the Supreme Court, and it probably will, how do you expect to overcome the disadvantage that 6 out of the 9 Supreme Court justices are either went to Harvard for undergrad or for Harvard Law School?
Great question. Great question. So, it turns out, I feel like Justice Scalia will be on our side. He went there.
Excuse me, can you repeat the question? We barely can hear you.
Oh, the question was, how do you expect to win in the Supreme Court if 6 of the 9 justices went to Harvard? Great question. So I won't get too much into the details, but there are several justices on the Supreme Court have said they are already opposed to the use of race. A couple of them actually went to Harvard. So we're okay on a couple. Justice Kennedy, we're working on. So I don't think, it's a concern, but I don't think that will be the tip the scales one way or the other. I think their perspective will be what decides it for them, and we're hoping to change the perspective. That's the goal.
My question is directed towards Ed and Will. Previously, you talked about how the Supreme Court decided that race-based admissions were okay as long as they were using a light touch. I was wondering if you could go more into depth about that to help me understand the previous Supreme Court rulings.
So it's a great question. The court has never really defined what it said. What the court has said is you can use race as one small factor. What the word they used was non-predominant factor in the admissions of students. They would never tell you what that means. Every time they ask the schools say, don't worry, we're not using it. We're using it as a non-predominant factor. So I know you're waiting for like a really good answer to this, and there is none. The Supreme Court has said you're allowed to use race until you reach a critical mass of minority students. Of course, when the schools define minorities, they exclude Asians from that category. So they don't even mean that. So look, every time someone asks, the schools say, don't look at our information. So I honestly I've never known. If you were interested in this and you wanted to see how this conversation goes, if you go on the Supreme Court's website, you can pull the audio transcript from the Fisher versus Texas oral argument or read the transcript. There is an exchange between the Chief Justice and Texas's lawyer on this very topic, and they both left frustrated. So I wish there was a good answer, but it's very fuzzy. And that's ultimately the problem, right? When you leave that much discretion and you say, don't look by, trust us, we're not using it too much, and when we say, prove it, they say, whoa, don't bother us, please. Like, we're a school, trust us. You'll never get the kind of appropriate confirmation of that you'd like to have.
Thank you.
I realize that this is a case about Asian American, but today we are all Chinese here. There are also Filipino, Indonesian, Korean, and also Indian. I wonder, actually, Professor who give an example of, the Indian mark as black, and I talked to my neighbors, to my colleagues, they said, we typically we do not really care, we mark as white. So they get the advantage of being admitted, but do we have a statistic of, like, for example, Indian national in real representation in Harvard, and is it really a concern for them? And do you guys actually part also engage the other community, Filipino, Indonesia, Indian, in this case?
I have not seen statistics breaking down the admission statistics into the subgroups of the, so I really don't have input on that. I'm actually interested in hearing what Will and Ed may have to add to that. Our impression is that these other Asian groups do stand with us on this side. This is the impression, and I know among the 64 organizations that complain to the Department of Education, there are many non-Chinese Asian organizations, but I don't know the statistics.
I can tell you that of the 10 to 12 kids who have joined the organization and have agreed to have their name revealed to the court if necessary, we do have a Korean, and we do have, I think, 2 South Asians. So this is now, we have 3 sort of subgroups within the Asian community as plaintiffs.